Hey Overcomers, I am Dara Marie. I'm your favorite mindset teacher, and this is Be an Overcomer, where you are inspired and empowered to walk by faith and use the gift of imagination to create the life you desire. So Overcomers, today I want to talk to you about Neville Goddard's SATS technique, and that stands for the state akin to sleep technique, and also the law of assumption. Now, the law of assumption, basically it states whatever you assume to be true will be true for you. So however you assume a thing. So if you are assuming that only good things come your way, you're going to experience only good things. If you assume that this world is so bad and there's only destruction and anything that's negative, and you're constantly worried about what's going to happen next, and you're constantly focusing on negative things and negative circumstances, you're going to bring more of that into your life. So, like I said, today's message is about Neville Goddard's technique, the SATS technique, as well as using your imagination to create your best life. I also want to read to you a quote from Neville Goddard, and this is from his lecture, How to Use Your Imagination. Most men are totally unaware of the creative power of imagination and invariably bow before the dictates of facts and accepts life on the basis of the world without. But when you discover this creative power within yourself, you will boldly assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. Basically, what he's saying is that most people are unaware that it's their thoughts, it's the things that are running in their mind, the inner conversations, their inner imaginings, like your imagination, what you're focusing on, that is creating your world without. That a lot of times we're taught that seeing is believing. I believe it when I see it. That a circumstance on the outside world has to change before your life will change. No, once you change, your life follows suit. Once you change, your life follows your thoughts. So it is always in your best interest to know what you want. This is why I encourage you to have a vision. This is why the Bible says to write the vision and make it plain. Too often, we are taking on other people's vision. We're taking on other people's messaging, even if it doesn't serve us, other people's beliefs, even if it doesn't serve us. So once you understand that your imagination is this creative power within you, God has given you this power. He's given us authority over this earthly realm. If you don't believe me, read the Bible for yourself. Read some of the scriptures. You will see, like, wow, okay, God has truly given us this power. Once you step into that and know that, as Neville Goddard says, once you know this creative power, you discover this creative power within yourself, you will boldly assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. So earlier, I had a subscriber had asked a question about, I guess, prescription drugs. They must be on like some prescription drugs for their health, and that being on that, will that lower their vibration? Will that stop them from manifesting? And I want to tell you, no. If you believe it will, see, in the law of assumption, it's based off of what you believe. Okay, it's based off of your thoughts, what you're thinking. So if you think that that thing is going to like lower your vibration, lower your thoughts, then it's going to do that. But if you feel like, okay, you can take that in tandem and still try to use your faith and still use your imagination to create, you will be okay. It's based off of your belief. The Bible says all things are possible to those that believe. It's on your belief. It's based off of your faith. Okay, Overcomers? I also want to read to you from Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And I want to read on this section on faith, and then I want to get into talking about the SATS technique. And basically here, Joseph Murphy talks about this here too as well. A young man who came to my lectures on the healing power of the subconscious mind had severe eye trouble, which his doctor said necessitated an operation. He said to himself, my subconscious made my eyes and it can heal me. Each night, as he went to sleep, he entered into a drowsy, meditative state the condition akin to sleep. His attention was immobilized and focused on the eye doctor. He imagined the doctor was in front of him, and he plainly heard, or imagined he heard, the doctor saying to him, "A miracle has happened." He heard this over and over again every night for perhaps 5 minutes or so before going to sleep. At the end of 3 weeks, he again went to the ophthalmologist who had previously examined his eyes, and the physician said to this man, "This is a miracle. What happened?" This man impressed his subconscious mind using the doctor as an instrument or a means of convincing it or conveying the idea. Through repetition, faith, and expectancy, he impregnated his subconscious mind. His subconscious mind made his eye. Within it was the perfect pattern, and immediately it proceeded to heal the eye. This is another example of how faith in the healing power of your subconscious can make you whole. So basically, just to summarize, this man had eye problems. He went to the doctor. The ophthalmologist said basically he's going to have surgery. He decided to use Neville Goddard's SATS technique, and this is basically what Joseph Murphy is talking about. Night after night, as he was drifting off to sleep, he imagined in his mind, because obviously the doctor wasn't standing before him, in his mind, he imagined hearing the doctor saying, "Wow, a miracle has happened. Like, your eyes are better. You do not need surgery." The state akin to sleep, basically, overcomers, it is that state when you are starting to drift off to sleep. It's that drowsy state, okay? We all know you're going to sleep. You're starting to drift off. You're somewhat awake, but now you're starting to fall asleep. In that in-between state, that is the time that you can impress your subconscious mind. So basically, that's what Neville Goddard means. You're taking it with you into sleep. So, for example, if it's healing, you just start declaring. You can speak it as an affirmation. "I'm perfectly healed. I'm perfectly healed." And you say it over and over. You start to see yourself healed in your mind as you're falling asleep. In the natural, no, the healing hasn't manifested yet. But as you continuously do that, I'm sorry, like when I get excited and charged, I'm like trying to get my words out. And it's like I don't want to miss sharing what I need to share with you. As you are imagining it in your mind, as you're living that state in your mind, it will eventually materialize in your outer world. Overcomers, you need to live a thing mentally first in your mind before it will materialize in this outer world. That's how it happens. Now, it's a technique. Now, here's another thing I want to share with you. This is why, for me personally, I'm very aware of what I watch and what I listen to, especially at night. Like, for me personally, I don't like anything that's horror. I don't like that genre. A lot of stuff, like, especially some things that are based off of like true stories. Okay. And then, sometimes people will watch certain genres. Like if they're watching something that was filled with like a horror story or something that's tragic that happened, and then go to bed and then wonder why at night they're having nightmares or they're having restless sleep. It's because your mind, it never shuts off, especially your subconscious mind. It doesn't shut off. I always tell you this. It is constantly taking in information from the outside world. And whatever you are filling it with, it will manifest, especially the things that you think about over and over and over and over. And as I always tell you this, they know that. I'm telling you, they know the power of our minds. And this is why daily, okay, if you notice, they will try sometimes, like there's certain things that will be playing on repeat. Then next thing you know, they move on to the next thing, and then they move on to the next thing, because they understand how the mind works. They understand the mind loves repetition, especially the subconscious mind. So as you're falling to sleep, that is a good time to impress your subconscious mind. If it's healing you need, if it's wealth, this person mentioned about being sick and being on some like prescriptions. If you want to get off of that, if you want complete healing, start to visualize and start declaring your healing. A lot of times we stay in a particular state because we keep prophesying to that state. We keep speaking to that state. Okay? I don't know why the Lord just brought this to me. In the Bible, when God told Ezekiel or asked Ezekiel, will these dry bones live? And Ezekiel started to speak, okay? And as he spoke, it said bone to bone, flesh to flesh. Your words have creative power. That's why the Bible says death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat its fruit. You will eat the fruit of your words. You will literally, you are prophesying over your life. This is why for me personally, I'm very aware of what I speak. What I speak over my health, what I speak over my life, what I speak over my family, like constantly. Even if I'm in a conversation with someone and someone is saying something, maybe something negative, I try to flip it because I know, listen, even though my conscious mind, I'm talking, but my subconscious is picking up everything that's being put down. And I don't want that to manifest. I don't want anything negative or something that's not going to serve me to manifest. And overcome is the same thing for you. I know you don't want that. I don't want that for you either. For those that are new here, this is where we learn how to grow our faith. Be an overcomer is where you learn how to be inspired and empowered to walk by faith and use the gift of imagination to create the life you desire. So basically the SATS technique is when you are falling asleep. It's that drowsy state. That is a time, it's a good time. It's not the only time, overcomers, but that is a good time to impress your subconscious mind. Start speaking your affirmations. Start thinking from the end. Not thinking of it, not thinking of your desire. Think as if you have it. So if it's healing, you are already healed. If it's money you need, you are already living in wealth and abundance. If it's that great relationship, you are in that harmonious and loving relationship. I would encourage you to speak life to it. Prophesy over your own life. You don't have to wait for the pastor. You don't got to wait for the elder. You don't have to wait for the intercessor to speak over your life. You can speak over your life and prophesy over your life. You have that power. God has given you that power. God has given each and every one of us that power. But in a world, I'm telling you, the way this world is designed, that wants to keep us asleep, sound asleep, and not ever awaken to that God power. If you don't understand, you have that within you right now. Like right at this moment, you can start to change your life. If you don't realize that, you will never tap in and you will never get to experience like living life on a more abundant scale. And I'm not talking about wealth. I'm not just talking about wealth. That's one product of that, of changing your mind. So overcomers, I pray this bless you. I hope it encouraged you. So Neville Goddard's technique is called the SATS technique, SATS, and it stands for the state akin to sleep. That is a good time to impress your subconscious mind. And as he said, assert the supremacy of your imagination and put all things in subjection to it. Basically, you must live it up here first in your mind. See it in your mind before you will see it in the world. So overcomers, I pray this blessed you. I pray to encourage you today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so appreciative of each and every one of you stopping by and being here at Be an Overcomer. I pray you have an awesome and glorious day. Always be an overcomer.